Hello and welcome back to the GB Fantasy Football channel. In today's video, it's going to be another transfer news and rumours lineup video. We're going to be taking a look at a few transfers that might be happening across the football universe as we speak. The transfer window has now opened. That is due to the Club World Cup. It will shut again very soon, but teams are becoming very active. If you like today's video, please do subscribe to the channel. There'll be plenty more videos coming across the break. The fantasy stuff will be coming in the near future as well, only a couple more weeks. If the deadlines are what we are led to believe, Sun Dream Team will be back in June. And there might also be another fantasy game on the horizon. Sky Fantasy, maybe, maybe not, coming back. Hopefully it does. I love that game. And we will also be covering that one on the channel as well if that does make its triumphant return. Without me spouting any more nonsense, let's crack on to the transfer rumours. First up on today's list is a player that we've probably known deep down will be leaving the league for quite some time. He might have put it off, but it's now very well known. Trent Alexander-Arnold leaving his boyhood club, Liverpool, to join Real Madrid. It's a sad thing for all fantasy assets as a defender, as a player, fantastic going forward. Left a little bit desired going back towards his own goal, but what we can't deny is he was a fantastic footballer all around. He's going to leave a big gaping hole in many fantasy assets and games. We're looking around now. Gvardiol may be the most attacking asset currently, that is, probably due to change. Maybe even one more on this list might break that mould as well. The new piece of information this week is that Real Madrid have had to pay £10 million to Liverpool for a compensation fee so he can play in the Club World Cup a month earlier than his contract has expired. It's going to be sad to see him leave, but I'll be intrigued to see how he does with Real Madrid going forward, especially in the Champions League. Can he take them back to where they belong, lifting silverware? Who knows? Next up on the list is a player that could potentially be coming to the league, to my team as well, to Arsenal, and that is Benjamin Sesko. Currently, between him and Gyökeres, it seems like Sesko is leading that race to lead Arsenal into the new season. But with it being Arsenal, we're linked to everyone. We're always active. We're always monitoring FC. Not a lot has been taken up yet with regards to actually acting upon these things, from what we're led to believe anyway. The deal is subject to a bid of between 70 to 90 million. That's the range that people think that Arsenal could potentially that is, get him from Leipzig. Would he change the way that Arsenal play? I'm not too sure. Havertz, similar mould, similar height, similar build, but it seems like Sesko is a more well-rounded, better finisher, and it's exactly what Arsenal need going into the next season. Price-wise, I think between 7 and 7.5 million on FPL would be a fantastic price. Can I see him getting to the 8 million range? I'm not sure. Between 7 and the 7.5 million range, it fits in quite well. We don't even know if he's going to start 100% for Arsenal. Personally, I think even if they sign Sesko, depending on when they sign him, that is, Havertz might even lead the line going into the first game, which would cause outrage, but that's a whole different story altogether. And for Sun Dream Team, I've put a price between 4 and 4.5 million. I think Havertz at the start of last season was 4.5 million, and that was quite fair. Once again, if he doesn't start those first few games and he comes on for a 15-minute cameo, you could see his price drop substantially before those European fixtures kick in, which would be quite nice. But that's where I bracket Ryan Mbeumo. Now, this is a player that we didn't expect to be linked to Manchester United. It seems like that front three is very much getting a revamp for this new season, and I think it's desperately needed. I think they scored the fourth lowest amount of goals in the league last season, which for a club like Man United, it just can't happen. They've already got Cunha through the door. I think Bruno Fernandes will probably play as one of the other front three, and it looks like Mbeumo is being lined up for that striker role. He's done it a few times in a 5-3-2 at Brentford. Still yet to be seen if he can do it at a club like Man United, but their fans will hopefully be hoping that he can do just that. It's been reported that he will earn between 170 and 250,000 pound a week. The transfer fee not quite set in stone yet, so we can't even edge towards that. Price wise, for FPL, I've plumped for him at 8.5 million. He was a fantastic asset last season at Brentford, and that's unfortunately what we have to price him on. If he goes to Man United, he won't be taking the penalties, I don't believe. It'll be Bruno Fernandes. So that will be, unfortunately, a massive negative on him. And price wise, I'm not sure he'll fit that bill. For Sun Dream Team, I've got him down for 5.5 million. And Man United don't have any European football, which would be a big shame for Mbeumo. They might get those early cup round fixtures, which would be good. Huge rotation, though, as we saw towards the back end of last season. But I'd put him at 5.5 million for Sun Dream Team and 8.5 million for FPL. We've got, I believe it's pronounced Reinders. I thought it was Reindeers at first, but I think it's Reinders. Coming from AC Milan to Manchester City, it seems. At midfield, getting a big revamp, similar to the United front three, with De Bruyne leaving. Got Kovacic, is okay, he's done fair enough. You've got Rodri coming back into that midfield after a long injury. You've got a few others floating around like Gundogan and Bernardo Silva coming towards the latter end of that incredible era from Manchester City. They need fresh legs in that midfield. And it seems a £47 million bid is enough to grab their man. Now, from what I'm led to believe, is more of a box-to-box player than a number 10. He can play at the base, but it seems that box-to-box role, similar to what Gundogan had a few years back, is what he's being lined up for. Price-wise, for FPL, I plump him 5.5 to 6 million. It doesn't seem like he's going to play at that number 10 role, which is where, importantly, he would be priced a lot higher. I'd put him in that Declan Rice category. This is providing that FPL don't change their points for next season and how they're earned and things like that, tackles, etc. That'd be 5.5 to 6 million. For Sun Dream Team, I think between 3 and 3.5 million, probably more 3.5 million if anything. At that range, you're looking at bonus points. I'll be intrigued to see how he fits into that Man City team. We might be looking at a cheap bargain for those European fixtures if he can nail a starting position. We have Jamie Gittins, or is it Mbeumo Gittins, from Borussia Dortmund to Chelsea. Once again, another team acting swiftly in the transfer market. It seems like Man City and Chelsea are using this early window before they head off to the Club World Cup to set their team up for the next season. As an Arsenal fan, very jealous, as you could probably tell throughout this video. It seems like Chelsea bid £37 million. It doesn't look like it's going to be enough straight off the bat to get him. A couple more million, and potentially they might have their man on the left-hand side of that attack. With Chelsea in Europe next season, it's one to watch for Sun Dream Team. For FPL, Chelsea's rotation has always been a big nightmare. Price-wise, this is the difficult one. I've gone between 6 and 6.5 million for FPL. I'd put him in that Mitoma range. He has the potential to go big if he joins Chelsea, that is. And then for Sun Dream Team, I've gone for between 3 and 3.5 million. Similar to Doku at Manchester City, we're looking at those European fixtures. Of course, Chelsea are in the Champions League next season. A lot more high-profile fixtures compared to the season just gone in the Conference League. Their squad is going to be, and need to be, a lot bigger, depth-wise with quality, that is. And it seems like he is the man to do just that. I'm sure there'll be plenty more players come through the door at Chelsea over the summer, but he is the man on the left-hand side to replace the vacated position from Jadon Sancho that just didn't work there. And for what I've seen from Gittins himself, he's quite a player. So good luck to Chelsea. Last on today's list is potentially the biggest game breaker on and out of these players so far on the list today, and that is Ryan Aït-Nouri of Wolverhampton Wanderers. He's been heavily linked to Manchester City. That will, of course, cause a lot of domino effects for players that we've owned over the season. Gavardio, I assume, will get that left centre half role. He played it towards the back end with O'Reilly slipping in at left back, which will heavily impact his point scoring potential. He won't be getting forward nearly as much. But Ryan Aït-Nouri himself, sticking with that player. As a wing-back in the Wolves system, it was incredible. He flew under the radar a lot on a lot of fantasy games last season until Wolves' form itself picked up. But him alone, not the team result, him himself, fantastic player. He really, really was. Personally, I thought he'd end up at Man United this summer. That link with Cunha down the left-hand side really flourished towards the back half of last season, and I did think that Manchester United would act upon it, especially for between 30 to 35 million pounds, which is seemingly the transfer value that will get this deal over the line. With Man City being in the Champions League and Aït-Nouri being a fantastic asset, I've priced him at 5.5 million for FPL. Not quite that 6 million range. We still need to see how he fits in the Pep system. I've asked a few people online about how the Manchester City system will fit a player like Aït-Nouri in, going from a wing back role into potentially an inverted system. I'm not sure how that would play out unless Pep has a brand new formation that he's going to throw upon us in the new season where Aït-Nouri is a flying left winger all of a sudden, and that would change the game completely. I think he'd be in everybody's teams. The Sun Dream team, I've got him at 4.5 million, which is the same price that Gavardio was at the start of last season, and I feel like he will play a similar role, even more attacking, if anything, but it will still be that main outlet from the back four getting forward. I've got a feeling if this one gets over the line, you will see him in a lot of teams across all fantasy formats going into next season. He will be the one that many will have their eyes on and that many will plump for ahead of the new fixtures coming out in a few weeks. Very much exciting times for Man City fixing that team. A lot more legs in there compared to the back end of last season, and I think they could be back to the Man City of old if they can get these players over the line. And that concludes today's video of transfer rumours, roundup, and news. It is very exciting. We're all sitting here waiting for those new fantasy games to pop up, to spring up, to give us the first little bits of information, and especially waiting for those games to come active and live. Until then, we have to sink our teeth into these kinds of transfer news along the way and see how teams might round up and just mould themselves leading into the new season. Thank you very much for watching. Please do like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. That would be greatly appreciated. And don't forget to check out the socials in the description below. We've got Twitter, we've got Instagram, we've got TikTok. Fantastic stuff on there. Please do go check it out. Thank you very much for watching. There'll be a new video coming to you on this channel very soon.